Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about fishing. So I'll be right back with you. So welcome back. Before we get started, I'd ask you to please subscribe to my channel, share with your friends and enemies, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below, because today we're going to talk about fishing in a survival situation. Now, many of you may know that if you've watched my videos, I grew up in Louisiana, and I grew up doing a lot of fishing. In fact, my mom would tell us, "Hey, I want to eat some fish this weekend." Me and my brothers, we would all just disperse and come back with as many fish as we could find. We took fishing vacations. We'd go on what little vacations we did when I was growing up. We were always near water, and even today, when my kids visit my mom or I visit them, we go down to South Louisiana and we do crabbing even. So this is a big part of my family. Matter of fact, the last time I was over there on vacation, we went to Arkansas and the whole family went trout fishing, and had a great time on up in Arkansas, and just loved it. Anyway, so what we're going to talk about is, if you notice behind me here, I have my fishing vest. This is a vest I've had for many years. Many years, actually more, I don't know how many years, but more than 15, and my pole here. Now, I have, this is what I use when I go fishing, when I go out into the outdoors. I go like a weekend excursion or something like that, or a day fish, something like that. I go out to the little small rivers or to the lake, and I take my chances in trying to catch some lake trout or perch or whatever I can find over here, where I live out here in Switzerland. You know, the thing is that you're not going to be able to carry that with you in your backpack if you're in a situation to where you're in a bug out situation, or a situation where you're having to survive, or this kind of stuff. So what I suggest you do is build yourself a mini fishing kit, the bases. You don't have to have the rod with you, although it exists, these small little rods, that kind of stuff you can buy, and has a lot of stuff to it. But what I've done is, I was in the Army, and we got our hands on this thing right here, okay? And this right here is the survival fishing kit. On the back of it, see fishing kit emergency, okay? These are given to pilots and with it to your survival kit, this kind of stuff. And I've got several of these, actually, that I've picked up. And this is the one that I normally have inside my gear right here. And but what I want to do is I'm going to open up today and give you an idea of what's in it. And the importance of having this kind of stuff. See, quite often people talk about, going out in survival situations, and they don't always talk about how they're going to obtain food. Quite often people talk about, well, I'm going to go out and get myself, and I'm going to bring some dehydrated stuff with me. That's fine for a couple of days, whatever you can carry on your back. But the thing that I try to tell people is that the more you have here, the less you got to have back there. And yeah, sure, you may not have a situation where you had the time to fish if you're trying to evade a situation, or to bug back in, bug out, or whatever, And space and weight is limited, okay? So I have one of these right here, and you can put these together yourself. You don't have to have this high-speed kit like I have here. But I just made it a lot easier on myself, because I've used these kits before and find them to be very good, actually. And if you can pick a couple of them up, throw one in the car, have one in your bug out bag, you never know, okay? I don't always carry my fly fishing kit or my fishing kit with me everywhere I go. You may be on a trip or something like that, and decide, I want to do a little bit of fishing, and I have this small kit with me. So yeah, you can actually dig into it and use it. It's got some really good stuff in it. Matter of fact, the list here, it's got the fishing instruction booklet, sturdy plastic case, which what you see, the packet of 8 assorted flies. It's got everything in here, actually, even the needles and stuff, and hooks. It's got a 63-pound 50-foot test line, 18-pound test line. It's got leaders in it. It's got red and white spoons, chrome spoon, baby copper spoons, leader knots and hitches, single edge razor blade. It's made by a company called Tracon Industries out of Medford, Massachusetts, 02155. So you may be able to contact them. Maybe they still make them. I don't know. But really good kit. Now, these used to come in small little metal kits, and I believe I have one like that, or I've had one like that. And this one here is, I like this one here is a plastic transparent one. You can see sort of what you got in it. But before we get to that, I just want to just tell you, try to build your kit if you can. You can go to some fishing shops. They may even have some small miniature kit, but make sure you have a good amount of things in it that you're going to need, Now this right here, it's not too heavy, but I can definitely feel some weight in it. But you're going to want to have the basics. You're going to have some line, this kind of stuff. Now, a lot of people make these little wooden spools. They roll the line up, all that kind of stuff. That's all fantastic. If you want something that's a little bit more primitive looking or whatever, go for it. When I did the Ray Mears course, we had a piece of wood that we cut and did all kinds of magic stuff to it. And we wrapped line around it, I think about 50 foot around it. And a lot of people hollow these things out and they stick a bunch of lures, that kind of stuff in it. That's fine. You can even take a little small plastic Ziploc bag, throw all your stuff in it, fold it over, tape it all up, stick it in your bag somewhere in one of your pouches or one of your spaces, and it's there. You have just have a minimum of stuff that you may need. You can make yourself something more primitive also with corks, from champagne bottles or wine bottles or whatever. All this stuff is free game, okay? You can do it. But it's up to you. But just make sure you get something that's going to fit a little bit across the board. If you're someone who knows how to make flies, make yourself some flies and stuff. So that's even better. I've never made any flies myself, but I definitely think that it might be the way to go. Anyway, be right back with you, and we're going to talk some more about this. So what we're going to do now, we're going to just give you an idea of what's inside this kit right here, what we have here, and just give you a better idea of what's in here. So this is what the kit looks like right here, and I put some tape on it. Now, actually, they've also come with like black electrical tape around them, this kind of stuff, different kinds of stuff. Now, actually, I haven't opened this one here in a long time, but I just replace the tape if I need to get in there. And then you can cut this off, or you can do what I'm doing, just pull the tape off of it if it doesn't have it on it already. But usually these come with some kind of tape around them. And I think this right here may be the original, what was around this in the first place. So it might be the first time it's getting opened up. Anyway, I'll put this tape right here off to the side, so that way I can reuse it, or I'll find myself some other tape a little bit sticky around the edges, but we're going to make this work. So here, let's bust this thing open some way or another. Here we go. Yeah, it's a bit sticky, this outer part. So I made them having to clean this thing up. So let's see what it has in it. It's got your fishing instructions. So it tells you how to fish. So it's something it's very lightweight material, a little bit waxy paper. Definitely suggest you hold on to that. Now you have some different lines in here, some heavy line like I talked about, and some lighter line, okay? A couple of spools that are 50 foot, all right? And then you have some different kinds of lures. These right here are probably for bigger bass fishing, this kind of like that, what you see in here. Plastic full of lures here. Then you have some small flies right here also that comes in it. And then you have some larger bait, larger hooks with looks like a bigger piece of bait here. Now I don't know all the names of all these kind of baits. I'm not a professional fisherman. I use what works. That's what I usually use growing up, and we usually end up fishing with cane poles, and we did have some rod and reels, this kind of like that. But we get out on the lake and just use a cane pole, and it usually worked for us. Here we have some leads right here. Also, different size hooks. Then you have other needles and hooks in here. Almost like a little spinner bait with a twin hook on it right here. That thing's quite heavy. A razor blade inside here. And then you have some baby pins, some other tri hooks right here, different sizes right here. Some pretty big stuff for some pretty big fish, this kind of stuff. And actually some sewing needles that are in here, quite large ones. So you have a good mixture of stuff in here. Okay, here we have some lead weights is right here. Now, something you got to be careful of is quite often nowadays lead weights not allowed in some waterways, so you got to be careful of that. But in a survival situation, I guess it doesn't matter that much. Okay, but anyway, that's what's in the kit. So what can you do? Well, you can put together your own stuff. What I suggest you definitely have is a good assortment of small hooks that you can put bait on, because you're not going to be able to carry the bait with you, some live bait like worms and that kind of stuff, but be able to know how to find the bait that you need in the area. If you look in the area, you look over the water, you'll see what the fish are going to be eating, this kind of stuff. Whether it's midges or flies or certain insects that land on the water, or if it's going to be worms, or even cheese and this kind of stuff works really well. Like when I grew up on the lakes, we used to catch, or rivers, we'd catch catfish. good eating, good piece of meat there, and really good tasting. Now, there are other things you can do with this line right here. You can take this line right here, and this good heavy line, and you can actually fish for crawfish or for crabs. And or blue crab, where I'm from, we have the blue crab. We have a lot of crawfish where I'm from. And what you do with that is you get you some bacon or something, or some cheese, or maybe even like a piece of meat that's maybe spoiled or something like that. And you would take it and you would tie it up, just tie it up in the loop. You dangle it down in the water, and you'll know when you got something on it. It'll let you know. Okay. Something else it doesn't have in this kit, which you could do, is you can, that is for gill net fishing. It's not a bad idea if you have yourself some kind of a miniature gill net, something like that. I give you a quick story. Back in the day when I was in the Army, we were brought out. We had done a lot of survival instruction, and we were brought out to a place in Washington where we were basically given. We were in our coveralls, socks, t-shirt, underwear if we wore underwear, with our boots. And we had our survival knife, pocket knife on us, and we were given we had our survival fishing kit, which is even smaller than right here. Didn't have any of this kind of stuff in it, just basically some light line and some hooks. And we were given a garbage bag full of garbage, and everybody had the same stuff in their garbage bags. And then we were sort of set loose into an area. You had to remain in the area. It was along a little small river, a small creek. And I was using my t-shirt that I'd made up a little small, basically something to catch little small fish and larger minnows and this kind of stuff, which I then boiled them up and ate them, or cooked them directly over the grill and ate them. But it all worked, okay? And we had everything, all the necessary things. Is basically like what you could find in a garbage can, or what you could make yourself. And yeah, everything from the garbage bag, everything in it was used. From it was actually almost a 1 gallon or 4 quart. I don't know what the size of it was. Bean can that was still dirty, but we had that, and we had some other things that were inside of the bag that you would normally find in the garbage that you could use. So that's what we did. But anyway, fishing, there's other things you can have for fishing, like yo-yos. I think I've discussed this in other videos. You can find this very easily. That's a Lazy Man's reel system. Fishing system works fantastic. I definitely suggest it. You can do trout lining, which we used to call it, where you basically have a line with several hooks on it that are baited up and they're laid into the water, and then you can catch several fish at the same time. And you can, like I said, you can do some gill fishing and this kind of stuff. But fishing is a really easy way for surviving. If you look at the series alone, a lot of them, the smart ones are actually fishing a lot more than they are hunting, because especially in certain areas, you can catch some big salmon, and these big salmon have a lot of fat on them, and that's really what you need. You need that fat, okay? And problem is a lot of it's quite lean, but you still have, some of them have eggs in them and this kind of stuff. You can eat all that, but salmon is a really good healthy food. It's going to help you. Now, you got to remember, the leaner the fish, leaner the meat, the less things you need that fat to keep you warm, to keep your body weight up, this kind of stuff. But anyway, so it helps a lot. So being able to fish, knowing how to fish, how to set your lines, this kind of like that, is very important, and something you sort of gotta sort of practice doing. What I suggest you do is you find an area, you get yourself some equipment you need, get yourself a license, that's for sure, and go out there on a weekend and try it all out. I remember my dad and we used to go along the little small creeks around where I live, and we used to just sit there next to the creek with a cane pole with a bobbing on it, a float, which is funny. These out here don't have any floats in them, so it'd definitely be a good idea to carry yourself or add to it, or put in your kit a cork, some kind of cork systems like that. Add to it, because out here it's definitely missing that, and so that would help you when you're fishing. It's got a bob on it that's going to let you know when something's taking your line. If you're cane fishing, or if you cut yourself a limb and you do it that way. It's a really good idea. It's a very simple way of fishing. It's the most basic way of fishing, and it definitely works. Now, there are other forms of fishing also you can do by building man-made traps. large cage traps, I definitely highly basket weaving type traps. I definitely suggest that you look into that and you learn those skills and you learn how to make them. Okay, so these all come in handy. This knowledge comes in handy. The more knowledge you have, the less of this kind of stuff you got to carry. But the basic stuff you can carry on you would be some line, and plenty of line, because this was going through, and plenty of hooks. Those are the two main items that you're going to need. And with those two things, you can make miracles happen. Okay? So that's it. Very simple way, very simple kit I have here. It's like I said, it's best to go out and make your own. This is just happens to be the one that I've had for many years. I've had these fly type kits right here. Here's from the U.S. military survival vest, survival systems. It's an old school thing. I don't even know if they even still use these things anymore. That'd be my guess. They may not. I know a lot of these kind of things they stopped using, and you don't see them anymore. But this one right here actually is a pretty good little kit. Like I said, it does have a lot of stuff in it that, some of this stuff, it's going to be a mix of stuff. You're going to have saltwater stuff here, and you're going to have stuff for that's for freshwater, okay? Unless you're on a coastal area, it's going to be less likely the chance you're going to be dealing with saltwater stuff. But if you're dealing with, if you're dealing and operating, or you're near an area that has a lot of that you're on a coast or something like that, or you're in an area. Now, if you're believe it or not, these fishing kits come in handy even if you are living in the middle of Kansas, because you never know, a little stream or something is going to be around there that you can use. So be aware of that. And it's always, like I said, there's a lot of stuff in here also on top of like this kit right here, which happens to have a lot of other items in it, like sewing materials, kind of stuff in there, which comes in very handy, because with this thread you can actually sew stuff up with it, and it comes in handy. And I definitely highly recommend that you put yourself a fishing kit together. You can also just primarily put your fishing kit together where it's based off of just what you'll need for fishing also. Anyway, it all fits back in here. Yep, it all fits back in there. It's all shut up in there. I can take my tape, hold this piece right here together, go back around on it. It's quite sticky still. This is 100-mile-an-hour tape right here is what it is. And it all fits back up in there, and it's all back together. And there we go. So this is a easy to find pre-made survival fishing kit. Like I said, if you're in America, you get yourself down to Dick's Sporting Goods or Bass Pro Shop, probably the best thing, or Cabela's, something like that. Go online, have a look at it. I'm definitely going to look into it myself, because I don't necessarily like using this system right here, but it's a good system in emergency. But I do like the idea of going fishing. Like I said, I have my kit up there. I could actually, off my vest, I could put together a small kit, use like I said, a plastic baggie or something like that, put it all inside that, and I may end up working on that in the near future. And just putting this maybe more obsolete, more of a collector's piece on the side, and concentrate on having a good little fishing kit that'll work for where I'm at. And that's something else. Terrain dictates, your environment determines. Here in Switzerland, I have lots of creeks, lots of rivers, and lots of lakes. I don't have the sea. I don't have the Mediterranean or this kind of stuff to deal with, or the ocean. So I'm dealing with primarily 100% fresh water. One thing is really interesting, when I did some trout fishing up in the mountains here, the trout here only get to be about that big in the creeks, about 6 inches. And they make it to that size in about 3 years, okay? But when the season first opens up and you can get out there and you put that hook in the water, that fly in the water, they hit so hard you think you're dealing with one this big, 1.5 foot, 2 foot long, because they hit so hard and they're so hungry. Because what they do is they pretty much live off of algae in the water and that kind of stuff throughout the wintertime, or they're under ice, this kind of stuff. And when summer hits or spring hits and the meltwaters hit down and the bugs start coming out, man, they hit hard. And it's a really nice fishing also. And the meat is quite good. Although they're small, man, you can like I said, about 3 years is right here. Now you go to some of these lakes, you'll have bigger versions of them when they have more access to the lakes. But on these mountain streams, I mean some streams that are seriously on the mountains, man, they'll be up there, and as soon as that you can throw a hook in there, man, they hit hard. So, but anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this little video on fishing and that kind of stuff. And I really appreciate you guys coming to my channel. Again, I want to thank you all for coming to my channel and checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed this, and I really appreciate reading some of your comments about fishing and about the importance of fishing and all the different techniques of fishing. And I'd like to hear about your fishing kits. So please leave a comment down below. And I ask you to also please subscribe to my channel, share with your friends and enemies, give me a thumbs up, and I'll be back with you with the next video soon. Take care of yourselves. Talk to you later. Bye.